He is 24th generation direct descent of the Song dynasty. She went to the bank and pulled out her best diamonds to wear.
If she shows up in jeans and a ripped t-shirt, then she's being disrespectful and she's making Christine lose face.
Your lack of effort drives me fucking crazy.
How is that lack of effort?
Kelly, girl, you gotta leave Drew ASAP.
Beautiful. But how come see the nipple?
Hey guys, it's Sarah and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I've been hearing a lot about Bling Empire. By the way, let me know in the comments if you've been watching it and what you think of it. So some of my friends in China love it, some refuse to watch it. It's actually caused quite a bit of controversy. So I felt that I had to watch it myself and give you my perspective, my 2 cents, because as an etiquette expert, I work, live, and play in the world of rich Asians. So I want to share a little bit with you guys, episode by episode, of what I think they're getting right, what I think they're getting wrong, and more importantly, the difference between Americanized rich Chinese and rich Chinese in China. All right, I'm excited. Here we go, episode 1.
Weren't you like fatter before, so you should be.
You just call me fat. Prosperous. That's why we call it Mandarin.
Prosperous, that's what we call fat in Mandarin. It's kind of true. I remember when I was having dinner with my boyfriend's parents for the first time, I decided on a new outfit and I wore it. I went to see my grandma first before going to dinner. She said, if you see your boyfriend, you want to look skinny. But if you see his parents, you want to look like you have meat on your bones. Only then does it show that you're, prosperous. So if your woman is well fed, then it means the man will earn money. Chubbiness equals prosperity.
It's this apart.
Instead of gifting something that guests will take home, like a candle or a paperweight, I wanted something that had longer lasting meaning. So we are making a donation to sponsor 1 orphan per guest in China. This is the first year that we are celebrating Chinese New Year as a family. And to do it big, of course, you have to take over Rodeo.
Christine seems to me like the typical American-born Chinese social climber, like super heavy makeup, lots of always getting dressed up, and she kind of has that look in her eye. It's like I can't replicate it because I'm not a bitchy American Chinese that she is, but it's just that glint that's like, I'm out to climb, I'm out to get you. Kind of scary. Definitely have seen that type around.
We are gathering all of our loved ones and friends, and we're bringing Chinatown to Beverly Hills.
So traditional black?
Whatever matches Baby G most, please.
All right, I'll go double check with his wardrobe.
Yeah, there's a lot of mummy and kid matching. To each his own, can be cute.
My husband, Dr. Chu, he is 24th generation direct descent of the Song dynasty. If dynasties were still in existence in China, my husband's father would be an emperor and he would be next in line, and Baby G would be a little prince.
I mean, thousands, tens of, a lot of people will claim this. You'll meet people that'll be like, I know the #1 in China. Yes, the #1 in China is Xi Jinping. I know a girl who went around telling she had a direct phone call to Xi Jinping. We asked her about something, which, we kind of knew that insiders would probably know. And she answered incorrectly. She answered sort of the mass understanding of this thing. We were like, okay, she's full of, and yeah, you meet people who say they're this descendant, that descendant. In China, people fake it all the time. They will always fake it to Westerners, because Westerners, you don't know the difference, Shangzhou, Minhan, Song, whatever crap dynasty. So take it with a grain of salt. I've heard this way too many times. I don't like Christine.
In Chinese culture, your expectation as a wife is to provide a male heir. And for 11 years, I was unsuccessful at getting pregnant. Baby G is our miracle child. Seeing his face, that can literally light up my world.
What I really admire her for is that she kept trying, because it is true. In Chinese culture, in Asian culture, you have to provide a male heir. You want to carry on the family name. It's very traditional. And that's why also in America, when you see a lot of very kind American families that adopted babies, you'll notice that all the adopted babies in America are little girls. And that's because in China, back in the 80s, 90s, even 2000s, when people were still poor, a lot of the people in the countryside, they would give up baby girls, and they'd keep trying for a son. Oh, and actually, some of my students who take my etiquette course who are from very affluent families, or themselves are married into very affluent families, especially ones from the southern Chinese provinces like Fujian and Chaozhou, really chauvinistic, really traditional. They actually told me that their husbands didn't marry them until they, number one, got pregnant, number two, the baby was born and they made sure it was a son, and then their husbands took them to go register their marriage. And in fact, in some big Chinese families, even in Hong Kong, you'll hear families that have they're like 6 girls and then the 7th is a son. And in Chinese, we call that 追仔, well in Cantonese, 追仔 or 追儿子, which means they were chasing a son. So they kept giving birth until, finally, they finally had a son. And that's how important it is. Obviously now with IVF and all these other modern technology, if you want, you can have a test tube baby and determine exactly what gender he'll be.
I want to feel me again. I want to take my power back. I only want to date for love now. I want to be with a guy who truly loves me for me and not have any other intentions.
Yo, I get you, Kelly. So in China versus the West, in Asia maybe, including obviously India, we all know about arranged marriages. There is a phrase in Chinese, 木门对木门, 竹门对竹门. So wooden door to wooden door, bamboo door to bamboo door. And that's because rich Chinese back then, the doors of their houses were made of bamboo. And so that means, rich people marry rich people, poor people marry poor people. And so there is that understanding in China, and that it's been that way for a long time. People don't necessarily marry for love in China. I have some etiquette students who, some girls who were born into very rich families, and one of them said to me, well, my husband's mother is the private banker of my mother. And my mother said, oh, this will be a good, he's well educated, we know the mother, you should marry him. So I decided to marry him, and now they have 2 kids. Is their marriage unhappy? No, it's not unhappy. Are they in this super deep, spiritual, meaningful, loving, soulmate relationship? No, they're not. But somehow it seems to work for her. Yeah, so, good for her. In China, there is this kind of concept where if you love someone, then you take care of them financially. That's the normal in China. And you also have, people who are out there. I have a lot of female friends who were very wary of the men, the suitors, who were chasing them. Why are they chasing them? Is it because of their connections, or because of this, or blah, blah, blah. I think that in the West, love is maybe more straightforward, really just about the 2 of you. In China, marriage is seen as very practical. Pretty much, every man has to be able to buy a house and buy a car for him to be considered an eligible bachelor. And that's why there's also a running joke amongst the masses in China that it's better to have a baby girl than to have a baby son, because if you have a daughter, she marries out and you don't have to provide all the house, car, this, that. But if you have a son, then obviously it's very expensive. If he gets married, it's running joke. In China, when people chase each other, it's always kind of like an interview. Okay, where do you live? Where do you want to live? What car do you have? Where did you go to school? But hey, in the West, when people marry for love, you still have a 50% divorce rate. So what's better? Whatever works for you. So I get Kelly. She's reliving her life the way she wants to.
I love Chinese New Year. The White New Year, what do you get to celebrate? You have a new goal in life, you want to lose weight, you wake up with a hangover. And the Chinese New Year, you wake up with money. You collect money in a red envelope. Who doesn't want that? Such a good holiday.
Kane is so awesome. Kane is actually quite on point for that kind of gay, well-off, gay, wealthy Singaporean guy. He's spot on. Really fun, really good-natured, says everything that everybody thinks but doesn't dare to say. He's it. And I agree, in the White New Year, okay, you have a New Year's resolution, blah, blah, blah. But in the Chinese New Year, you get money. So let me show you what exactly a red packet is. This is a hong bao. Hong means red, bao means packet. It's a red envelope. Inside there is money. I'll show you this one. And inside there's 500 Hong Kong dollars, which is about 80 US dollars. The legend of red packet giving is that it's literally called 压岁钱. So to suppress sui, money. And sui is the name of this evil monster that during legendary times would come and harm little kids. So then the gods gave these little kids these coins to put under their pillows to keep them safe when they slept. And now it's become married people or adults giving children packets with money, or seniors like bosses giving juniors, their staff, money. The 411 on giving hongbao is that, first of all, I go to the bank to get clean, crisp bills. You never put an old bill in. So you can see this super clean, super crisp, and then I fold it up like this, put it in like this, You never put coins. What I'll do is, usually when you see people, they'll be like, 新年快乐, 新年快乐, 恭喜发财. Always give and receive with both hands, just like a Chinese business card. Whenever you receive a red packet, receive with both hands. Never open it up in front of your giver, and always obviously thank people and say the blessings in Chinese. Shane, I agree with you. Chinese New Year is the best because you get free money. Unless you're married, in which case you have to give out money.
I'm glad Anna showed up to my Chinese New Year party. She went to the bank and pulled out her best diamonds to wear. That's a sign of respect, right?
Yeah, Christine, it is a sign of respect. And so in Chinese culture, there's something called 面子. Mian is face, 面子, so it's giving face to another person. Let me give an example of giving face to someone. Showing up at the things they invite you to, that's giving face. Dressing well to your event, that's also giving face. If they say something nice about you in front of other people, that's giving face. You can also make someone lose face. So if Anna didn't show up, then she's not giving face. If she shows up in jeans and a ripped t-shirt to this fancy ball, then she's being disrespectful and she's making Christine lose face, although it also kind of looked bad on her too. If in front of everybody, Anna stood up and said, Christine, this is the worst Chinese New Year party I've ever been to, I'm leaving, then Anna would be making Christine lose face.
I'm showing more.
Way better.
What?
Yes, beautiful. But how come see the nipple?
Okay, well.
Good, go with that.
I cannot believe that Kim Lee's mom thinks that calls her daughter beautiful wearing next to nothing and her nipple is coming out of her dress. That is something that would never happen in Chinese culture. And actually, amongst Asian culture, Vietnamese are kind of seen as more, Chinese culture is more conservative and it's more about, okay, you have to be properly covered up, your boobs shouldn't be hanging out of your dress, your ass shouldn't be hanging out of your pants. But Vietnamese culture is known in Asia to kind of be the opposite of this. And I think especially sort of Vietnamese, American-born Vietnamese are also kind of more Kim Lee style. So don't get me wrong, I think Kim Lee's beautiful, I love her music, but I think from this episode, this section of where her mom's basically telling her to wear something that shows off her naked body and then is like touching her nipple in front of everybody, that is like a no-no in rich Chinese culture. So that's definitely on brand with what we see as like Vietnamese style.
Because Andrew just texted me and he's like so upset that we left him. I was like, you're sleeping. We don't even know we're leaving.
Hello?
Hi. I don't know what's going on with you.
Lack of effort drives me crazy.
How is that lack of effort?
Because you can easily say, I'm not going to leave this hotel until I let Andrew know.
Whew. Kelly, girl, you gotta leave Drew ASAP. I mean, this is like, when I see a guy like Andrew, and all I need to see is just the way that he called Kelly and the way he spoke to her, to me that's red flag. I have dated a guy similar to Drew who was really controlling and verbally abusive back then, and I think I was in the same situation as Kelly is in now, where she's kind of blind because she's in the box and she's also kind of become this victim of abuse, abusive people and controlling people all over the world, no matter what their ethnicity, what their education, how rich they are, what their age is. It's exactly the same tactics that they employ. I mean, just going crazy over nothing, blaming everything on you, and then when they realize that what they've done is wrong and that they might lose you, then the charm offensive goes on, they apologize, say they'll never do it again. Kelly, you are really in dangerous territory. And actually, I have to say, I'm really glad I myself went through that experience of dating somebody that controlling, because it's made me able to empathize with other women who are in the same situation. And when I wrote my etiquette book, because of that experience of mine, I added at the end a last chapter, I added a subchapter called The Red Flags of how to know when you should leave a controlling or abusive relationship. Yeah, it's bad.
I overreacted and I'm sorry. I'm not happy with my actions, I'll be honest with you. I raised my voice at you and pushed you away. And we're both still learning. We have a lifetime to learn, and I want to learn it with you.
Oh my God, Drew is crying. These are crocodile tears. He says he's gonna change. He says he's gonna learn and change, whatever. He's never gonna change. People like this never change. So unless it's like years of therapy and working on themselves, and it takes years. So female watchers of this video and of Bling Empire, let Drew be a lesson for you. Never, ever touch a guy like Drew with a 10-foot pole. They're insecure as hell. They are manipulative as hell. Even if you're the most confident and happy woman in the world, they will break you down. We do not need any of that kind of toxicity in our lives.
Oh my God, it's so good. I want another one.
Is it an aphrodisiac?
Yep. Why do you think she's going feeding me?
They're not married and they have a kid. And Cherie's like super pregnant right now. So that's super rare in Asian culture.
Ready?
Yeah, for Asian culture, especially because they're both Chinese background, to have a kid and she's pregnant with a second kid and not be married, that's right, it is very rare in Asian culture. Especially in rich Asian circles, that's really kind of a no-no. So in Bling Empire, Cherie actually wants to get married and it's Jessie who is kind of dawdling and not really proposing. But you know, Cherie's rich too, right? And I would say back in the day in Asia, even if the woman was really rich, she was always expected to marry a guy and never have a child out of wedlock. But in recent years in China, what you're seeing is, because I see this amongst my etiquette students who obviously pay a lot of money to take my etiquette course, they're really successful women. Some of them are self-made, some of them have kids without husbands. So either they go find a surrogate, so you know, they choose some sperm in a catalog and match it with their eggs, and just through surrogacy have their own kids. I remember that was the case for a very, very rich and successful, roughly 40-year-old etiquette student of mine. And I asked her, I said, oh, well, do you want a husband? And she has these twin boys running around. And she was like, no, I can control my work. I can control myself. I can have success and, you know, control like everything in my life, but I don't want a man in my life because he's just gonna mess it up. I'm fully financially independent. I just want kids. You know, makes sense because as a woman, if you're unmarried, you have all the rights. You don't marry but have kids. But once you get married, then you have everything, I guess, to lose. And so they're like, well, no. So I think this is kind of something where, at least in China now, you're seeing the tables turn, super rich boys and girls, mainly girls, and not feeling the need to get married.
I don't feel this need to compete. I find it fiercely annoying. But this one goes on the end. Because there's two of the undesirable. Okay.
I love my seat. See your name, Kate?
Where? Oh.
Somebody. Christine.
I am totally with Anna here. Firstly, as a hostess, table seating is kind of a big deal. We've all been seated in good seats. We've all been seated in not that good seats, and we all know how it makes us feel. So as a host or hostess, we all know how it makes the other person feel. And you know what? I think Anna did completely the right thing. Anna is like my new life guru. She's so amazing. She's so secure. She doesn't feel the need to compete. And the fact that Christine is showing the need to compete, that really comes from a sense of insecurity. I think what Christine did by wearing the necklace and then making such a big fuss to Anna about how she's wearing the necklace, it lowered Christine in the eyes of everybody. If I were Anna, I would have done exactly the same thing. If a guest pissed me off and it's before dinner time, all right, I'm putting you in at the end of the table in the worst possible seat. Yeah, that's right. So I want to take this opportunity to also talk a little bit about table seating. When you're hosting a dinner party, there are actually two main styles. There's English style and there's French style. English style is when you have a rectangular table and the host and hostess sit at the ends of the table and then the guests are kind of in between. And then French style is where you have, you know, your long table and the host and hostess sit in the middle of the table and then the guests, you know, sit out. The pro and con of English style is that nobody feels left out. French style, you feel left out, but at least when there's a lot of people, important people are sitting together. You also have Chinese style table seating, which is a circular table because we're all about equality in the group, no individuality. And then the host will sit across the table from the door. That's usually because, let's say, if you're hosting out in a restaurant in China, we always entertain in private rooms. And so these private banquet rooms, there's always a door. And so the host sits facing the door because then they can communicate with the staff. And it's also seen as like the 买单位子, which is where the person who pays the bill sits across from the door. Alright guys, so now we've come to the end of episode 1. Hope you enjoyed my little 2 cents on Chinese culture, on etiquette, on love and relationships. Now let's talk about 3 takeaways from episode 1. Takeaway 1, red packets are awesome. Next time when Chinese New Year rolls around, or if it's a birthday celebration or a wedding, hey, get a Chinese red envelope, put some clean cash in it, and hand it out. Give it to your favorite server at your favorite Chinese restaurant. Super fun. Takeaway 2, when somebody tells you they're a descendant of some random dynasty, or if they have a direct line to some top government official in China, don't believe it until you see their ancestry.com, because China is full of bluffers, and those who really have the connection don't talk about it. Takeaway 3. If somebody misbehaves at your dinner party, it is a-okay to rearrange their table seating so long as they haven't been seated yet and put them at the end where they deserve to belong. Anna, you are my new life guru. All right, guys, that's it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit like and drop me a comment below. See you next time for episode 2. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be posting a new video each week who have tips and tricks that I think will help all of us lead a better life.